Thursday, so let's start off with a lovely little video.
Yes, sir.
When you feel like giving up, don't. When you're thinking about giving up, don't. When it look like you ain't gonna make it, keep going. When they tell you you can't, come on, man, who are they? When they tell you you're not gonna make it, don't believe them, man. Don't believe them. You got to be relentless. Don't give up. Don't give up. Stay in it. Stay focused. Quitting guarantees the failure. Once you quit, it rules out any chance of succeeding. The mere waking up every day, putting the next foot in front of the next foot, at least keeps you in the game.
But you can choose, in the midst of all of this that's going on, to be happy in spite of life's challenges. See, a lot of us, because of our limited vision of ourselves, a lot of us who begin to focus on problems and enable them to overwhelm us, we begin to think that we have no options. We begin to believe that there's no way out. Guess what? There's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. We have two primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problems. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again. No. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. I'm unstoppable. This will not get me down. You've got to make those kind of declarations to yourself.
I have never met anybody who became incredibly successful in any area of their life until they had suffered and sweated and sacrificed and kept their focus and fought through tears and trials and tests. And if you have a dream and you commit to it, it will come to pass.
You must have patience and engage in consistent action. We live in a world, ladies and gentlemen, where people want instant gratification. They want it right now. No, it's simple, but it's not easy. It's a system that if you work the system, it works if you work it. But make no mistake about it, it's hard. You are the determining factor. The people that make it in this world look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. It's you that you must take personal responsibility to make it happen. It's hard. No, easy is not an option. However, ladies and gentlemen, what you will discover is that it's worth it. Write down 5 reasons of why it is worth it for you to become a diamond, to experience that level of achievement. What is it that will give you the drive? What is it that will ignite the courage in you to get up and come back again and again and again? How is it that you would be able, what reasons that you tap in to that deep down feeling that goes to your gut, that no matter how many times you get knocked down, that you're coming back?
Listen to me, this is how you do it first, over 6-7 years ago, with no money, no human resources, no building, no funding, no support. The first thing we did was we dreamed, we wrote the dream down, we rehearsed the dream, we looked at the dream, we talked about the dream, we slept with the dream, we woke up to the dream, we wore the dream, and now boom, it's our reality. And for some of you, you stop dreaming. You dream for a week and you stop, because things around you don't look good. You dream for a month, and when you get hit in the mouth, you quit and you give up. You dream for a while, and when people tell you crazy, or people tell you stupid, or people tell you you can never get done, you stop dreaming and you go back to knowledge. And I dare you to use your imagination. I dare you when you're broke to use your imagination. I dare you when you're rich to use your imagination. I dare you under every single circumstance. Keep dreaming. Keep looking at your dream. Keep focusing on your dream. Keep going after the dream, because that's where true success is.
Morning, everybody. How are we doing today?
All is well, Mr. Jones.
All is well. Outstanding. Glad to hear it. Everybody feeling good? Okay. It's a great day. It's a beautiful day outside.
It's a lovely day.
It's a lovely day to talk about psychology.
Yeah. Which is the basic study of human minds.
What was that?
Which is the basic study of human minds, of people's actions, reactions, of how they react when they just start to get worked up.
Definitely part of the world of psychology. You were saying something, Jim? You couldn't sleep? Oh, that's interesting. Because today, we're going to talk about sleep disorders. That's very, very timely. So we may come back to you to see what type of experiences you had last night. So let me begin, of course, with today's announcements. Today we're going to continue with Chapter 4, States of Consciousness. Now on Tuesday, States of Consciousness, we focus basically on sleep and dreams. Today, we're going to be looking at sleep disorders. These are conditions that affect how you sleep, or basically how you don't sleep, or what happens while you sleep, as far as a negative impact. We're going to even talk about hypnosis a little bit, and meditation. We're going to say drugs for Tuesday. Meditation, we're going to talk about that. So you may have some questions about it. Some of you probably meditate every day, but we will find out as well. Now, but before we dive into those topics, I'm going to show you the video that I mentioned on Tuesday. Actually, it's a two-part. It's two short videos about this guy who stays awake for 8 days and nights, over 200 hours, and we're going to see what happens to him. Now, just for the record, you'll find out when I show the video. This will be the actual video. He was actually doing it to raise money. He was doing it for a charitable organization. His name is Peter Tripp, and he's a disc jockey. Or he used to be a disc jockey. This is a really old. This video is old. It's in black and white. And so back in, let's see, what was it? I think it was like 1959, 1960. He was DJing, and he decided to raise money for the March of Dimes. And to do that, he just said, I'm going to do a marathon. I'm just going to break the world record for staying awake. I'm just going to broadcast live on the air for 8 straight days. Anybody think that was a good idea? Yes, we will find out. Some things come with a cost. So we're gonna look at that. Let's see what else you need to know. The next quizzes are Chapter 2 and 3. Chapter 2, Neuroscience and Perception. Chapter 3, Sensation, and something else. Chapter 2 and 3, they're due on September 15th. 2 weeks, get those questions done. I believe each quiz, I thought it was 140, but I believe each quiz is worth 150 points. So when you take the quiz, you have 3 chances to answer those questions. You have 3 chances. If you got, here's 7, you may want to consider taking it.
Would we have 3 chances to
You
what?
have 3 chances
On what?
to take the quiz.
What quiz?
When you go online.
Ah!
When you go online, take the quiz. You have 3 chances. So if you don't like that score, you're like, oh, they only got 90 points. Then I think I'm going to take it again. Take it again. I think the max is 150, but it could be 140. Does anybody know? Does anybody got 150 or 140? It's 150. There we go. Calculation. I've never taken it, so I don't know. Okay, so there you go. So shoot for 150 or at least 140. And your 2 lowest scores will be dropped. So in case you're wondering why, hey, I did it, but I still don't have any points yet, that's because the way the system is set up, I didn't do it. It won't start calculating your grade until the first couple are done, because like I said, it's dropping your lowest score. So technically, it's not in effect yet, but it will be soon. But in case you're worried about that. All right, now, also speaking of upcoming events, a week from today, a very infamous day, September 11th, we'll be taking our first test. Test number 1, test number 1, which will focus on 2 chapters. Chapter 1, Introduction into Psychology, and Chapter 4, the one we're doing right now, States of Consciousness. Okay. Whenever there is an upcoming test, I personally I'd like to help you guys prepare for it. And I do that by allowing us to do an in-class study activity. So that means on Tuesday, we're going to talk about drugs, how they affect us, that's part of states of consciousness. And then we're going to do a review activity, just to help you prepare. Because and everything in the review is going to be in the form of a question on the test.
You mean as in drugs that criminals, that culprit offenders use on when they're at
We're
their
talking
place?
about all types of drugs. Coffee is a drug.
It is?
Yes, it is.
Sugar's a drug.
Yes, because coffee has what's called caffeine. Caffeine is a drug.
But it's not illegal?
Anything that can alter your state of consciousness is basically a drug for the most part.
But coffee and caffeine is a drug which isn't illegal?
It's not illegal. Cigarettes are a drug. For the nicotine. That's what makes that a drug, the nicotine.
Yeah.
It's not illegal. When you get a prescription for a medication, that's a drug. It's a drug. It's not illegal, but it's still a drug. So
Yeah, caffeine's a
basically, we're
stimulant.
talking about different types of drugs. Also, so you have a week to get one of these. I mentioned this on day one. You will need a Scantron sheet, for those of you who are not familiar with it, to take the test, okay? All it is, you go to the school library, not no school bookstore. I believe these cost about $3 or something. Does that sound about right? Anybody know? It's about $3. You get 6 in this one pack for $3. You will only need 5, so you'll have a spare. So we need those for Thursday and a number 2 pencil. The pencil, the regular pencil, but this only reads red. Slide it. Okay. Thursday, a week from today, that's when we take your first test. A week from today. Any questions about anything? Like I said, only about $2 or $3. Yeah. You'll need it for the semester. All right. Does anybody have any questions about anything? Okay. Let's see what happened to Peter Tripp. Let's see what else can I tell. Now, it's in 2 parts, because at one part I have to switch to another video, but it's the whole thing is about 10 minutes. Like I said, it's in black and white. Now, I don't know why, but for some reason, they put this creepy music throughout the video. It's like they tried to make it a horror movie. I don't know why, but it is creepy. And the reason why I'm showing you this video, I really want you to see how not sleeping can impact our minds and even our bodies. Now, he's going to an extreme. I don't think anybody here is trying to stay awake for 8 days and nights. Bless you. I don't think anybody's trying to do that. But this will definitely show you, like, wow, the exaggerated effect of what can happen to you. Peter Tripp was actually kind of pioneer in radio. You know, from radio. He was actually the most popular or most successful DJ in America at the time.
He was?
He was. This is 1959. So I'm old, but I wasn't even on the planet yet. But he was popular. There's a term called top 40, like top 40 countdown, top 40 songs in the nation, top 40. Apparently he created that term, top 40. Like he created that.
Interesting.
He was such a popular DJ that he even hosted a dance show, like a dance music show where young people come on their show and dance. Yeah. So he was a pretty well-established guy. He was like, yo, let me raise some money for the March of Dimes. I'm gonna break the record for staying awake, and we're gonna see what happened to him, and if it was really a great idea to do that. Yeah, but everything has consequences, and we'll see what his were. And just so you know too, they're gonna mention this in the video. He did this being supervised. Like there was doctors and research, like, there were people there to monitor what was going on with him. It's not like he just did it on his own. They were like, no, he needs to be observed in case we need to like save his life or something. So he didn't just do it on his own. All right. So here we go. Could you get the lights on? Thank you very much. This will make it even creepier with this weird, creepy music.
New York, January 1959. Scene of the most daring sleep deprivation experiment ever attempted. Disc jockey Peter Tripp decided to raise money for charity by staying awake for 200 hours, 8 days and nights. If successful, it was to be the longest period of uninterrupted wakefulness ever recorded.
I don't think anyone thought Peter Tripp was going to stay awake more than 2 or 3 days. Have you ever tried to stay awake before an exam for one night? It kills you. Well, 8 days is impossible.
Pardon me. How about you kids? Do you think that might be a hit song? Rosemary June, I'll always be another you. We think it's just tremendous.
Inventor of the Top 40 and a pioneer of TV pop shows, Tripp was the most successful DJ in America. His radio station asked a young sleep researcher to supervise the experiment.
I thought that this was certainly a risk. I tried very hard to persuade them not to do it, because I felt certain from my own studies that significant harm could be a consequence.
In 1953, Jolly West had been a young psychiatrist working at a U.S. Air Force base in Texas. He treated a group of American pilots who'd been captured by Chinese communists in the Korean War. The Chinese had tortured the prisoners by preventing them from sleeping.
I felt that some of the Air Force POWs had not recovered their former personality function after they returned. They told me that they weren't themselves.
Aware of the psychological damage suffered by the American airmen, scientists in the late 50s shied away from sleep deprivation experiments. But Peter Tripp was determined to go ahead.
Jolly went to New York and talked with Peter Tripp, and he said, this is a dangerous thing to do. No one's ever done this before, and you might be in trouble. It may end up that you're going to have physical problems or mental problems. No one knows what's going to happen. You still want to do this? And Peter Tripp said, yeah, he's going to do it.
They got back in touch with me again and said, Mr. Tripp is going ahead with this in any case. Will you be a consultant? And I thought, well, if he's going to do it, it shouldn't be wasted.
This is one of the most listened to shows around the country. According to all the facts and figures, this is the most listened to, the most popular, the most everything record of the year.
On January 20th, 1959, Tripp launched his attempt to break the world record for sleeplessness. To maximize publicity for the March of Dimes charity, he broadcast his show from the studio in the middle of Times Square.
He was a very cheerful, upbeat guy, and that's what we observed at the very beginning. He called himself Mother's little curly-head boy. And away he went.
He would spin his records not 4 hours a day, but 24 hours a day. And he would chatter and answer his phone calls and do the whole disc jockey's shtick.
I got myself all geared up to use Polaroid films to take a picture of Peter Tripp every hour as long as he stayed awake. Well, it worked.
Good people, right now we're going to kind of close off with something that we think is about as pretty as a record can be. It's instrumental. I think it will be the first big smash hit of 1969.
While New Yorkers listened in their millions, the doctors kept Tripp under constant observation. As the hours mounted, it became harder for them to keep him awake.
When studies of sleep deprivation are done, I always wonder what measures they took to keep the person awake. Because when we studied Peter Tripp, that was our objective, to make absolutely certain that he stayed awake, and we did. I had the graveyard shift. From midnight till 8 o'clock in the morning, I had my eyes focused on that guy, because after 2 or 3 days, you can imagine, he wanted to play games, you know. He'd want me to look out the window or something. Well, he can't after a few seconds. We never did that. We wouldn't let him do this. He would say, "Now just to go to the bathroom a few minutes, and it'll be on." We said, "Oh, we're gonna go to the bathroom with you." Oh, he was mad in a sense, but finally we said, "Look, if you got the bathroom and sit down, you're gonna go to sleep, don't you know? The whole experiment's over." Oh, he said, "Okay." So as inconvenient and as awkward as it was, we were with this man constantly.
By the third day, Tripp's behavior had begun to change. He was abusing everyone around him, even his barber, who he'd known for years.
Peter began cursing the barber, really being terrible to him and insulting him, and the barber cried. He didn't understand this. He began crying when Peter cursed him, and later he didn't come back.
Tripp was given a full medical examination every day. The first physical change doctors noted was a dramatic drop in his body temperature.
Many times he'd sit in this warm booth with his overcoat on and his hat pulled down. That was a complete change for Peter Tripp.
His mean body temperature progressively declined over this period of time. And the lower it went, the crazier he got.
Tripp had begun to see things that weren't there. He mistook one of the doctors for an undertaker who'd come to bury him. He ran into the street, terrified.
He bolted out of the door. I chased him. He ran across in heavy traffic and just missed being hurt. I had to tackle him to keep him from being killed by a taxi.
By the fifth day, Tripp began to lose his hold on reality. Dr. West was growing concerned.
He began to have periods of frank hallucinations where he would be hearing voices.
At first, the medical team were puzzled by the hallucinations, but then they made a surprising discovery. When we sleep, we enter a period of REM sleep every 90 minutes. It's during this stage that we dream. Tripp's brainwaves showed that although he was awake, the hallucinations were shadowing the 90-minute cycle of dream sleep.
There was a 90-minute cycle of relative confusion and relative clarity that would ebb and flow. During the time that he would, if he were sleeping, have had REM sleep, those were the times he was most likely to hallucinate. It was as though he were having dreams, and some of them with even a nightmarish quality, even though he was awake.
He began seeing spiders in his shoes. And he talked about it, was fearful of this. He actually could see these spiders in his shoes. He'd take off his shoes and look inside them and say, those are spiders. See those spiders in there?
Okay, part 2.
Starting now.
If you're seeing and hearing things that aren't there while you're awake, you're mad. If you're asleep, you're normal and having a dream. So it's the question of whether you're awake or asleep that makes the difference. And in his case, since he wasn't allowed to sleep, it's as though his normal dreaming pattern began to show itself.
But strangely, whenever it was time for Tripp to do his show, the delusions would disappear, and the fluid DJ patter would resurface.
record of the year. Now, this particular song around this little part of the world was not number one the most times, but it was in the top 10 for a fantastic amount of time. Thereby circumventing a...
He was clearly psychotic. When you don't know where you are or who you are or what's really going on around you, and when you believe that there are strange and ominous forces at work, and when you're seeing things and hearing things that aren't there, then you're psychotic.
As the 200-hour goal approached, West and Cornelison became increasingly concerned.
On the very last night, he was so far out of it that we were hard pressed to keep from calling an end to the whole thing. But by that time, we were ourselves pulling for him to make it to the end. And we thought that, hey, we're psychiatrists and physicians, we'll keep this guy going and on his feet, even though he's crazy as a loon.
There Peter was, trying to stay awake when I knew every hour must be miserable for him. I saw his beautiful, pregnant wife sitting there with him, wondering, I hope he can make it, and trying to cheer him on, but I'm sure she was terribly frightened.
He reached the point where he confided that people thought he was Peter Tripp, when really he wasn't. He was an imposter. He was someone else pretending to be Peter Tripp.
On the last evening of the experiment, the team again monitored Tripp's brainwaves. They discovered that he had somehow entered an altered state of consciousness.
Peter Tripp was awake, knew he was awake, and still his sleep record was that of sleep. He was asleep, and yet walking around functioning. Eyes opening, talking with all of us, and he was asleep, which is really remarkable.
On the night of January 28th, Tripp achieved his goal and broke the world record for sleeplessness.
But please, take it easy tonight. Drive carefully. The life you saved might be mine, and I don't want to die yet.
After staying awake for 201 hours, Tripp finally went to bed and slept for 24. When he awoke, the delusions had gone.
At first, he felt that he was unaffected, that he was back to normal, perfectly normal again. But his wife didn't think so. And in fact, their marriage started to go bad after that, and they ended up getting divorced.
The man I saw the first morning that he began this, when he was waving at everybody through the glass windows and smiling and laughing and joking with us, after the 200 hours had become a changed individual.
In the months that followed, Tripp seemed unable to recover his center of gravity. He fought with his boss and lost his job. He ended up as a salesman, drifting from town to town across America. Those that knew him well were convinced that those 8 days without sleep had left him permanently damaged.
We really didn't think about it. We didn't think about it carefully enough to know what the problems might be. This was a dangerous kind of thing, and we did it carefully, but I think if we had thought about it a little more carefully, we would have had some objections to it.
As of now, scientists aren't certain why it is that some of us enter this altered state of consciousness, somewhere between waking and sleeping. Nor do they know why it is that we so often feel rage or terror in these states. What is certain is that we've only just begun to explore the mysteries of the sleeping mind.
And there we have it. Peter Tripp story. There may be one question on the test about this video. I'm not sure. There's usually one question from the videos I show. So any thoughts about Mr. Peter Tripp's experiment? I'm not experiment. I don't even know if it was an experiment. Fundraiser. Any thoughts? Anybody want to try to do it?
You said want to try to do it?
I'm just joking.
Oh.
What were you about to say?
I thought it was crazy how, like, was awake, but he wasn't, like he was sleeping and he was just moving, and I was like, ah, oh god.
He's awake and having REM sleep. Remember we talked about the importance of REM sleep. Typically when we dream, and he wasn't able to get his REM sleep because he wasn't able to sleep. So it's like his brain said, we're gonna do REM sleep while you're awake. But it's gonna come out in the form of hallucinations. And I want you to pay attention to it. If you remember, the first thing they noticed was his body temperature started getting wacky. Like, he was all bundled up. His body temperature got lower. So he was in the studio freezing, and everybody else was, like, he's wearing a hat and a jacket, not a jacket, a full coat. So his body was the first thing that started to be affected by not sleeping. And then, of course, the hallucinations. Spiders in his shoes, cursing. And also too, his attitude changed. He snapped on his barber. Really made the man cry. That's why some of us, when we don't get enough sleep, we're more likely or potentially to snap on somebody. We have less patience. Yet another reason why it's important to get enough sleep, because you might be short-tempered. Some people get that when they don't eat either. So, and unfortunately, in addition to the illusions, even when he got enough sleep, they say he slept for 24 hours, he wasn't the same person anymore. He lost his wife, and I believe the guy said he had, I think, either a newborn or they were expecting a child or something. He went from being the #1 DJ in America to losing his job and being a salesman. Like, his whole life got changed because of this one little activity he did. It started with him not getting enough sleep. Now, interestingly enough, if you were to Google the record for staying awake, that's not the record anymore. That record has been broken. Is it? Somebody Google that. What's the record for staying awake? Somebody Google it. Everybody got a computer in their hand. So it's 11 days. That is crazy. Now, how old? Okay. Here's what's interesting. A 17-year-old stayed awake for 11. I can't even imagine. Okay, stayed awake for 11. I don't believe he's had any psychological issues that permanently affected him. I don't believe. And then that makes me wonder, is it possible that when somebody who's younger staying awake, their brain has a greater chance of rebounding and repairing itself compared to somebody who was older? I don't know how old Peter Tripp was when he did this, but he looked like a middle-aged man. And so maybe if he was younger, his brain and his mental health could have just bounced back compared to like a teenager who did it.
Well, it's proven that the younger a child is, more neuroplasticity they have, so they're able to function.
What's your name?
Nicholas
does.
There's even been people and children that, I believe there was one story where someone took their child in just for an exam, and the doctor was like, he has half a brain.
Right.
He's only, I think it's only born on the left side of his brain, but he's still fully functional because the brain rewired itself too.
It rewired itself. So I don't know if you understand what he was saying. Our brains have a certain level of neuroplasticity, which means it's flexible. It can change and evolve. And when you're younger, your brain is more able to adapt, to correct itself, to heal itself, compared to when you're older. So it wasn't. I guess what this experiment says, we shouldn't have our parents trying to stay up for 8 hours. That might not be good. All right, yeah, interesting little thing. But still, the important thing is that you realize is sleep is important for your body and your mind. So, all right, let's now resume with chapter 4. We're gonna go with sleep disorders. And you will need to know there's 3 primary sleep disorders. By the way, are there sign-in sheets getting passed around? It's coming up. Okay, so now at some point in a time in our lives, all of us have difficulty sleeping. It's gonna, at one point or another, whatever the reason, noisy neighbors having a party, stuff on your mind, We are at some point. But if that continues, you could potentially be developing a sleep disorder. And I don't know, maybe you said you have problems, do you usually have problems sleeping at night? So, let's look at the terms of the three major sleep disorders we're going to talk about. Here's the first two: insomnia and sleep apnea. That is the word. Insomnia and sleep apnea. As always, only the underlying portion.
Almost every person has difficulty.
Basically, I just want you to understand the difference between all three, which is really not that difficult, actually.
Sleeping, known as
insomnia, and the bottom one is sleep apnea. By the way, that bottom sleeping disorder is very dangerous. And the third sleeping disorder that we get to is dangerous too.
Ismania? Ismania?
Sleep apnea. You know what the bottom one?
Insomnia.
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 Unable to fall asleep easily or frequent waking.
Yes.
More common in women and other adults.
Yep.
Some people who think they have sleeping problems are actually mistaken.
Right.
In sleep apnea, the person has difficulty breathing while sleeping, and lack of oxygen triggers a waking response. In infants, may play a role in sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS.
Very good. Thank you for reading it. So, I'm going to go over in detail what Saeed just read. Insomnia. Basically, it means you're having problems, this is consistently, falling asleep easily, or you fall asleep, but you always find yourself waking up. Like always, you know, I'm going to say, I'm waking up again. You are experiencing some degree of insomnia. And there's some people who try to take medication. Some people get over-the-counter medication. They go to CVS, Walmart. Some people, the doctor may prescribe them something. Some people try to do more natural ways to help with insomnia. What's a natural way to try to go to sleep? Well, maybe your parent or grandparent say, hey, do this and go to sleep. Anybody? Ocean, yes, that's a natural way. Often I go to sleep with the sound of waves. That's something I do often. What's another natural thing that somebody or grandparents? Yes, here.
Avoid screen time like 2 hours before you go to sleep.
Avoid what?
Screen time.
Avoid screen time, yes. Yes. Not only avoid screen time, they actually say try to limit any light, especially fluorescent light, from in your room. Like if you have a digital clock. Like I have a digital clock near my bed. I literally cover it. I just have a little thing that's laying there, and I just flip it up and cover it.
Actually mistaken.
Sometimes they make suggestions where drink certain things. Some people talk about drinking maybe teas, a certain type of tea. Some people talk about, I don't know if they still talk about this. I've heard anybody suggest this lately, but drinking warm milk, that's supposed to be a thing.
That's a thing for like
babies. No, but for even adults too. Yeah, because I've even heard even a small bowl of cereal could use milk and like, that's just what I've heard. But there's different ways that people try to address if they are experiencing some degree of insomnia. And everything is really on the spectrum of life. You know, they talk about the autism spectrum or something. And so that means some people are on this end of the spectrum where they really struggle with autism. And there's some people on this end where you wouldn't even know they had autism. It's a spectrum. But everything's on the spectrum. If a person is dealing with depression, there's a spectrum. Some people are so depressed they can't get out of bed. But on this end, they're depressed, but they can still function and do everything. You may not even know they're depressed. Insomnia, it's a spectrum. Some people can't sleep at all at night. That's the worst case. And then some people,
Insane.
maybe they wake up every day at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they have to stay awake for an hour and a half before they go back to sleep. Now, for some reason, it's more common in women and older adults. That's how you read. And sometimes people think they have a sleeping problem, and they really don't have a sleeping problem. Now, let's get into a more dangerous form of sleeping disorder, sleep apnea. This person has difficulty breathing while sleeping. Does anybody know anyone that has sleep apnea? 1, 2, okay. So let me describe what we're talking about here. When it says the person has difficulty breathing while sleeping, this is not just them going, they're in bed like, breathing is so labored, it's hard to breathe. No, this isn't that. This is far worse than that. This is literally while they're sleeping, they stop breathing. And usually what happens, their body, in an attempt to get air, wakes them up. So they're asleep, and they're not breathing, and suddenly their body goes, and they wakes them up so they can catch their air. Now, unfortunately, in some cases, since you stop breathing, some people, they literally can die in their sleep because of sleep apnea. Some people have died because they literally stopped, they weren't breathing. And their body, or their mind, or whatever, their nervous system, didn't wake them up in time to catch that next breath. Also, people with sleep apnea, and this happens multiple times throughout the night. This isn't just like one time during the night, they couldn't breathe. No, they and then they may go back to sleep. But literally the next 5 minutes, 30 minutes, the next 2 hours, they're probably gonna have another sleep attack again, where they can't breathe. I mean, they might even realize, there's some people who don't even know they have sleep apnea. Only thing they know is they always wake up tired. And they're tired for the rest of the day. And they don't understand why. I went to sleep. That's because they're not getting quality sleep, because their body keeps waking them up so they can breathe and not die. It's a little worse than that, because if you have asthma, it's difficulty breathing, but you can still breathe for the most part. It's hard. You might need an asthma pump or something. But this is like, you're asleep. You didn't know what's going on. And suddenly, you're not breathing any air. Which is why, those of you who are familiar with this kind of sleep apnea, there is a device that some people have to get so that they don't die in their sleep. Who knows what that device is called? It's called a CPAP machine. Basically, they put this thing on their mouth, kind of like Darth Vader or Bane from Batman or something, and it forces air through their windpipe.
You mentioned Batman just now.
I said Bane. Bane was a villain in Batman, for those who. He always had the shirt on.
So was the Joker, Scarecrow, and Black Mask.
Yes, those were bad guys too. Yes. So this now I heard, I don't know, I don't have sleep apnea, that this is not a comfortable device to sleep. So what was your name again? Jackie, do you know somebody? Apparently you know somebody.
I used to have sleep apnea, by the way. Yeah.
Do you still have it? Did you have to use a CPAP machine?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Could you share with the class what that feels like?
It's so uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable.
It is. So it's usually, there's two types of masks you wear. There's one with on your nose or it covers your whole mouth. The one that I have was the one that covers your whole mouth. And you have to have it on all night. And if you want to move around, you can't, because the wire has to go with you, So it has to be connected. And yeah, it's like.
Do you get quality sleep with that on?
No.
It's attached. What is the other end attached to?
It's attached to a machine. I used to have a picture of it. It's a machine with like a cord that gives you air, your lungs can extend and you can sleep.
Thank you for sharing. Okay. And by the way, throughout the class, sometimes people will share personal experiences or experiences with family members or friends or whatever. I'm going to say the same on this First of all, you don't have to share if you don't want to, you're not obligated, but I think you want to inject doing so. And also to, when people decide to share personal stuff, we need to keep it within this classroom. Let's keep it confidential, okay? So don't be outside and go like, oh yeah, see that girl over there? Like, yeah, her brother's autistic. Like, no, we're not gonna keep. Is that okay with you guys? Okay, we're gonna respect everybody's privacy. All right, let's check.
Last time I seen him, he had
He had a CPAP.
Yeah. And that thing is loud. I don't know, but to me, it's like, I don't know, it's like, I don't know.
Did yours make the sound, Jay?
Not really.
Okay, but I'm sure there's different types of machines.
Yeah, there's different types, but mine's really loud.
Okay, that's, all right, so let's get into the third sleep disorder, which is just as dangerous as sleep apnea. It is called narcolepsy. And while you're there, feel free to write down sleep talking and sleepwalking.
Narcolepsy is an unstable sleeping for short periods while a person is awake.
Right.
Sleep talking and sleepwalking are usually harmless.
Right.
Occur during stage 3 sleep, more common in children.
So clearly you know what sleepwalking and sleep talking is, so we have to explain it. Just know that it occurs during stage 3 sleep. And then we're going to write this down. We're going to talk about narcolepsy, which is, I hope no one in here has been diagnosed with narcolepsy. Did everybody sign their ticket sheets? Nobody needs to sign?
Well, person is awake. Okay.
Narcolepsy, uncontrollable sleeping for short periods while a person is awake. Does anybody have any idea, does anybody know anybody who's, they call it being narcoleptic, or experiencing narcolepsy? Does anybody ever know anybody? Okay, so, uncontrollable sleeping. Let me describe to you what that would look like. Let's say I was diagnosed with narcolepsy, or I was narcoleptic. So I could be sitting on the couch, talking to one of my friends, and they're like, you remember that time? Yeah, what was about 18? Yeah, and that is narcolepsy. Sudden and unexpected sleep attack. Out of nowhere. There's no warning sign. You're just out. Now think about how dangerous that could be. Think about if I'm driving and I have a narcoleptic episode. Not only may I get hurt, I may take other people with me. And there's really not much I can do. Not to mention, even if I'm at home, if I'm at the kitchen table, and I'm talking to my mom, and I'm like, boy, that was a great breakfast. What's to stop me from hitting my head on the table, or even falling off the chair and hitting my head on the floor? Absolutely nothing. That's why narcolepsy is extremely dangerous. A person who's narcoleptic should not be driving, ever. unless they have some sort of medication or something, and I don't know if those exist, that guarantees they won't fall asleep when they're behind the wheel of a car. Extremely, extremely dangerous. I used to have a client, I don't know for sure she was narcoleptic, but she truly had the behavior or the symptoms. This was when I worked doing in-school therapy, and I was stationed in Kennesaw Mountain High School. Kids could, kids who were on my caseload, I could pull them out of their classes for their therapy sessions or whatever. Or they could come see me in case something came up. Yo, Mr. Frank, I gotta talk to you. The teacher, she took my phone, whatever. So they could come talk to me anytime they wanted to. I can give them a pass to go back. So this one young lady, she would tell me about times she'd be at home on the couch talking with her boyfriend, and next thing she would know, she'd be waking up and her boyfriend or her mother would say, yeah, you passed out. As a matter of fact, on a couple of occasions, somebody would come to my office and say, so-and-so, she blacked out in the classroom. She fell on the floor. She's on the floor right now. So, like I said, I don't know if she truly had narcolepsy, but boy, it seemed like she did. She definitely displayed the symptoms of narcolepsy. And like I said, it would happen at home, and it even happened in school. But she got hurt with it happening at school. So if I recall correctly, their floors weren't carpeted like this floor is right here. So, extremely dangerous condition right here. Now, sleep talking and sleepwalking. Okay. Where my sleepwalkers at? Who's walked in their sleep? 1, 2, 3. Okay, we got 3 sleepwalkers. That's mind blowing to me. Okay, so what's your name right here? Tonight. Okay. I'm just curious. You said Tonight, right? Tonight. Okay, so where have you found yourself? So basically, co-sleepwalking is you're in your sleeping, but you're walking. So where have you walked to being asleep?
Well, it was one night I was at my boyfriend's house earlier.
Okay.
And I know I went to sleep, like, obviously I went to sleep. But like, the last thing I remember is him walking me back to bed. And I'm just like,
so you woke up when he's walking you back to bed?
yes. I was like, what happened? He was like, you just got out of bed, started putting stuff on me. And I'm just like, huh?
Started putting stuff on?
Like, I don't know, like I had put like some objects or something on him.
You're like, we put this vase
I
on
wasn't
top of
aware
this.
this whole time. And he was like, yeah, you're putting like objects and stuff on me. You were going in and out the room. And we're just like, huh?
Does that sound weird?
Yeah, it was weird.
Anyway, who else was a sleepwalker? You just gotta have all the sleep disorders, don't you? Where have you wakened up at?
Last time, this happened like 2 weeks ago. It was recent. They found me in my living room, just like on the floor, just sleeping. And then they heard me like moving everything around. Like I pushed my cousin out of nowhere.
You pushed your cousin?
Yeah, he was just like in the kitchen, and I was just like sleepwalking. He was trying to wake me up, but I didn't wake up.
And the whole time your eyes are open.
Yeah.
They're not closed, they're open.
Fortunately, I haven't lived with anybody who sleepwalks because that would freak me out.
I literally have to lock myself in my room.
I'm just saying that would freak me out because I'd be like, so and so, and because you can't really hear, can you? You can't hear what anybody's saying, can you? No, you're just doing your own thing. Yeah. What were you? You've done it too?
Yeah, I fell asleep downstairs, and when I woke up,
Jordan, right?
Yes. I fell asleep downstairs on the couch. When I woke up, I was in my bed with the lights on.
See, there are some risks with sleepwalking. You guys know that. Because there's nothing that stops you from walking into something or falling downstairs or going outside and in the street and getting hit by, there are some, I mean, it's not like narcolepsy but things can happen. Okay, now, yes.
Sorry, I beforehand, like sleepwalking, like relates to like what you're doing about? Like, is it in a dream, like you're acting on it?
I don't know. Let's talk to the people who. So, do you guys know if you're dreaming while you're sleepwalking? Is there something? I mean, can you tell? Do you know?
For me, it's like, I don't know, it's in my mind, I'm still asleep, so I don't know what I'm doing unless the person actually sees me and sees
So
what
you
I'm
have
doing.
no idea. So it's not like if somebody woke, because like if you were dreaming and somebody woke you up while you were dreaming, you might remember what you were dreaming when they woke you up. When you wake up and sleepwalking, you don't know what was going on.
You literally don't know what you're doing.
Okay, I get it.
So, I'm looking at this, I'm saying, well, I'm about to say no disrespect, but with sleep talking and sleepwalking, usually harmless, and she's saying that she's like, real objects or her boyfriend.
That's what she said she did, yes, yes, she did.
This is where, I'm sorry, this is where my mind goes, forgive me, but bring to be a chance for this little bit, she could grab a knife or a gun or, you know.
That's a legitimate question. You could do something harmful, not even knowing you're harming somebody. You could, right? But I have never heard of that happening. I've heard sleepwalkers are usually, they place themselves at risk. I have not heard of somebody sleepwalking and hurting somebody else. So, where are the people who talk in their sleep? 1, 2, 3. There's usually far more people who talk in their sleep. I tend to talk in my sleep if I'm sick, like if I have a flu or something, for some reason, or if I'm really, really exhausted. That apparently increases my likelihood of sleep. Now, here's the thing. Some of you guys may talk in your sleep, and you don't know it because there's nobody in the room to tell you you're talking in your sleep. I can guarantee you more people in here talk in their sleep than you realize. Because most people in this room sleep in their own bed. Most of you sleep in your own room. And if you do that, how would you know? Because when you sleep, I don't know when I've talked in my sleep. My wife tells me later on, or she will actually like shake me to like out of it. It's bothering her, so she'll shake me to come out of it. So she goes back to sleep. So she's funny. Now, sleep talking and sleepwalking, they occur at stage 3. Let me tell you, speaking of sleeping, let's start this little crazy story. So one time, I was probably the age of a lot of people. I was about 23, 22, 23. And my girlfriend lived about 2 hours away. And so I went to visit her. And I got to stay at their house with my mom was living. But I slept in a different bedroom. So my girlfriend decides, I guess, to be sweet and romantic and wake me up in the morning with a gentle kiss. So what she does, she comes in the guest bedroom and apparently she starts crawling. She starts in the back of the bed and crawls up on top of me to kiss me. So in my mind, as I was dreaming, a massive, gigantic spider was crawling on me and about to bite my head off. I'm not exaggerating. And so I immediately, I balled up my fist and pulled it back. And suddenly, I woke up and all I saw was my girlfriend doing like this, like waiting for the blow to come. Fortunately, I woke up right before I threw it. What was that? That's exactly what it is. No, because it's a giant spider to me. Who wants a 5-foot spider crawling on me? Huh?
You were gonna punch it like that?
I was going to punch, it was about to bite my head off. I was going to punch the spider right in its head because it's about survival. I was going to punch it with everything in me. Everything in me. Could you imagine trying to explain that to her mother? Why her daughter has a black eye or a chipped tooth? Could you imagine? How was she screaming? I'm sure you would. And suddenly I'm an abusive boyfriend. Yeah, that I was so, she told me, she said, I knew I was about to get knocked out. She said, I just stood there and was bracing for it. So that was just, I think talking about sleep and dreams, that reminded me of that incident. I'm like, whoa. Trust me, with every bit of energy that I could have delivered to that giant spider, it was going to get it. And I'm sorry, Miss So-and-so. I thought she was a spider. That don't sound right at all. That does not sound right. All right, let's spend some time talking about hypnosis and meditation. Okay, so what is hypnosis? What are the effects of meditation? Okay, let me just survey. How many of you believe hypnosis is real? One, two, okay, some of you question. Okay, so let's talk about it. So hypnosis is, you don't need to know if it's not on the test. It's a trance-like state of heightened susceptibility to the suggestions of others. Meaning somebody else is kind of making people's brain go a certain way. Typically when they do something like hypnosis, they make sure the person is comfortable in a quiet environment. Sometimes the hypnotist explains what's going to happen. Sometimes the hypnotist has them concentrate on one thing or another. And then the hypnotist makes certain suggestions to get the person in the right mindset. Now, I was kind of skeptical about hypnosis until when I was living on Guam and I hosted my own morning radio show. A hypnotist came to the island to do 4 shows. And he also appeared on my morning radio show. Now, let me tell you, I'm gonna share with you how hypnosis, one way that it works. So when I went to one of the shows of hypnotist, basically, he was trying to find who in the audience he wanted to bring on stage. Because the people he put on stage, he was having them do some bizarre stuff. I mean, they're clucking like chickens, they're doing all this crazy stuff. And it was interesting how he did it. So, because it's about suggestion. This is what he did to the audience. He said, okay, everybody in the audience, and if you want to do this, you can to see what it feels like. I'm not going to hypnotize you because I don't know how to do that. I'm just going to do the activity, he said, if you want to do this. So he said, take your finger and your thumb and stare at it. And so people were, this is everybody in this audience, it's like hundreds and hundreds of people. Everybody's looking at their finger and their thumb. And then he says, I want you to imagine, see, nobody's doing it, let's take a chance. Nobody's like, you're not hypnotizing me. I ain't no sucker. And so you're looking at your thumb and your finger. He says, now imagine there's a very thick rubber band around both your finger and your thumb. Keep looking at it, it's a very thick rubber band. Now, I want you to imagine that this rubber band is getting tighter, gradually, and it's bringing together your thumb and your finger. It's getting tighter and tighter, and it's bringing your finger and your thumb closer and closer together. And what's amazing, when you do this, like if you guys decide to do this right now, some of you, just by me saying that, I promise you, for some of you, your thumb and your finger were actually going to be getting closer together. Now, because I'm guiding you to it, I'm telling you, the rubber band is getting tighter. And what the hypnotist did, he said, okay, now those of you who your finger and your thumb are touching, let me see your hand, raise your hand. All those people, some of those are the people he brought on stage because they've already shown that they're in that state where things can be suggested in their minds.
Typically, the process follows 4 steps. Person's made comfortable in a quiet environment.
I got you this time. I beat you. I read it this time.
And the hypnotist explains what's going to happen.
Hey, we're good. We're good. Because I want to share this other story real quick because we don't have much time. I need to get into meditation real quick. Okay, so this is when I knew. So first of all, seeing people on the stage falling over and fucking like chickens, doing all that, it was amazing. When he was on my show, my co-host was like, hey, can you hypnotize me? And he was like, yeah. And he said, well, what do you want me to hypnotize you? He said, you know what, I smoke. And he did smoke. My co-host smoked all the time. Even during our morning show, every hour, he's like, I'll be back. He'd have to go outside and take some. I don't know how many of you smoke cigarettes, but. So he was like, okay, and the hypnotist was like, okay, I'm gonna hypnotize you so that you don't want to smoke. I was like, this is gonna be fascinating. So he got a stool, and my co-host sat on the stool. Now, the hypnotist, he said, first of all, I'm gonna have to do this during a commercial. I can't do it live. Because if I do it live, somebody could be driving around the island and crash. So I was like, okay, cool. So we wait till a commercial. During the commercial, my co-host's name was Joe. And he told Joe, he said, Joe, you can relax, you can ease. And he just kept talking to him calmly, and now he's sleeping. Within a matter of minutes, Joe was so relaxed that he did go to sleep. The guy had to catch Joe from falling asleep. He stopped. Joe's head was like half a foot from hitting the floor.
test tells the person to concentrate
Joe was out. While he was unconscious,
on a
he
specific
started telling
object
him that we will no longer have a surge in the smoke signal.
on a specific object or image or on relaxing different parts of the body.
And then he was like, okay, I'm gonna bring you back now. I'm gonna count in reverse from 10 to 1, 10. And when you come back, you're gonna feel well rested and you won't have the desire to reach for 6 10, and he brought him back. I said, Joe, how do you feel? He said, I feel okay. I said, did you know you almost fell out this chair? He was like, no. He did not take another smoke break for the rest of the show. He went the rest of the day. He didn't smoke this. The next day when we came to show, I was like, so did you have another cigarette? He said later that night, he was with some of his boys, and he did smoke a cigarette. But he said all afternoon, he had no desire.
Hypnotist makes suggestions, or the
And
person
so
interprets.
hypnosis is actually used in therapy for people who are trained hypnosis, people who are trained in the area. Some psychologists use it to control pain, reduce smoking, treating some other psychological disorders, even helping in law enforcement, or helping an athlete to perform better. I got this big game, can you help me concentrate better or whatever? So there is some possible value to using hypnosis. For some people, it hasn't done much, and for other people, it's been a really big help. So that's just for you. All right, let's briefly talk about meditation. Who in here meditates? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Okay. I'm curious, what do you guys think meditation is? I'm just curious. What do you think meditation is?
Just probably relaxing or just like conversation.
That's like that's your place where you kind of relaxing. Anybody else have an idea what meditation?
I'm like about to like do something that like is really important. I'll like sit for about like a few minutes probably, and I'll just like be really quiet and like think to myself like all the possibilities of how it could go.
So you actually meditate. Is that a form of meditation?
Maybe. So maybe it's not. But it's like.
So, do you guys think meditation is beneficial? A lot of you don't do it. Do you think it's beneficial, or do you think like what do you? I'm just curious why so many of you don't meditate. No judgment. I'm just curious. Or why do you think people do meditate? Does it offer any benefits? Does it could be beneficial for you? Yes.
I mean, I used to do it for psychology, just reflect on like what happened in the day and throughout the week.
So, remember how I said on Tuesday, I was like, if you want to be a millionaire, who should you talk to become a millionaire? Millionaires. If you say, for example, if you want to be successful in business, who should you talk to? People who are successful in business. If you want to have a calmer state of being, if you want to feel as if you have more inner peace, you should talk to people who demonstrate or show you that they have inner peace. You ask them, hey, you usually at peace, you usually seem pretty relaxed, pretty chill. What do you do? What do you think? What do you read? Do you exercise? Talk to people who know. Now, I'm saying all that to say, meditation may actually be a benefit to many of you in this room. Maybe not, but maybe for some of you it will be. I do a yoga routine and I meditate 7 days a week. And I can tell you right now, I feel like, for the most part, I'm a pretty chill, calm person. Now, maybe that's partly my personality, but I think meditating has played a major role with helping me to be centered, be at peace, to not be so stressed when it comes to making decisions. So, meditation is a learned technique for reinforcing it, refocusing attention, so that brings about an altered state of consciousness. So you can meditate to a point where your state of consciousness is different. Maybe you feel like half awake, half asleep. Meditation is practiced in a lot of different cultures. There are cultures where it is a common thing. It's what they do. They meditate. Now, some people picture meditation as just being somebody sitting, crisscross the thing. Meditation is so much bigger than what you probably think. It even mentions for some people, let me talk about different types of meditation. Some people, it's just sitting and focusing on your breathing. They just sit and just inhale and exhale. That's one way of meditation. There's so many different ways. Just like there's so many different ways to get in shape. There's so many different ways to meditate. Some people meditate by just saying a phrase or a word over and over. They may just sit and for 10 minutes they just say, I am happy, I am calm, I am at peace. I am happy, I am calm, I am at peace. They may just repeat that. Some people may make a sound, like they just may repeat. For some it may be, some people, meditation might be taking their minds to an ocean, sitting on the beach, just breathing in with as the wave rolls in, they inhale, and the wave rolls after the exhale. Some people may meditate by thinking about the clouds in the sky passing overhead. Some people might meditate by thinking what they want to happen later today. People who do long-term practice of meditation, their health is actually improved because people who meditate, they're able to decrease their oxygen usage, their heart rate and blood rate goes down. And you're able to change your brainwave patterns. They've hooked up devices to people who are meditating, and literally the brainwave, they could see how the brainwaves change for people who are meditating. Now, these are 9 popular ways of meditation, and there is no one way. There's mindful meditation. Mindfulness is about being fully present and knowing what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're feeling, what you're tasting. Spiritual meditation, focused meditation, where you're focusing on one thing. Movement meditation. Sometimes you could be going for a walk, just in nature. That could be considered a walking meditation. You're doing a walking meditation and you didn't even know it. All you're doing is just walking and paying attention to nature. The mantra meditation is like where you repeat something. Transcendental, progressive meditation, loving kindness meditation, where you focus on being loving and kind to other people. Visualization, that's where you think about what you want to happen later on in the day or in the week. There's so many different ways to meditate that may be a benefit to you. I do all different types of things when I do my meditation. So this is some of that. What we say?
What's the transcendental?
Transcendental meditation. I used to know, but I forgot now, so I don't want to tell you something that's wrong. But you can, and these are just like 9. There are so many more. Now, if you wanted to try meditating just to see how it works with you, there's something else that's not up there. It's called guided meditation. Guided meditation is when another person is guiding you through something. So say, for example, we were talking about sleep. You're having problems sleeping. You have insomnia. That's what we're talking about. You could go to YouTube right now and Google meditations to help with sleep or insomnia. And what you would do, this is now would be guided meditation. You will go there and it'd be a video. It may not even be a person, it'd just be somebody talking. They may have a picture or something. And they will be talking you through to help you go to sleep. So it would sound something like, now that you're lying down, you're feeling completely relaxed and at ease. Starting at your toes are feeling calm and relaxed. And moving up your legs, you can feel your body becoming more and more at ease. The tension that you experienced earlier in the day is leaving. There's a gentle warmness that is embracing. You can feel your mind letting things go as you become sleepier and sleepier. That's a guided meditation where there is a voice guiding you through it. And you can look up guided meditation for anything, guided meditation to accomplish goals, guided meditation for, like, YouTube has hundreds of videos on this subject. So, like I said, I'm not telling you to try it at all, but I'm just explaining it to you for those of you who may be interested in trying it. Especially if you feel stressed out a lot. If you deal with a lot of stress, you have nothing to lose. You can literally do, let me look up meditation, guided meditation to help with relieving stress. Not to mention there's tons of books on the subject as well. All right. Any questions about guided meditation or meditation in general?
What's the definition of meditation again? The relax of your mind?
Mind, body, soul, spirit.
So we don't need the meditation for the test?
The meditation and the terms associated will not be on the test. No, not underlined. I just thought it's something important for you guys for us to discuss. I want you guys to learn about people, learn about yourselves. I want you to be a better person than I am. So before we sign off, this is where we're going to begin on Tuesday. We're talking about drugs. Let me do these announcements real quick, and then we'll be done. As a reminder, the quizzes for chapter 2 and 3 are due September 15th by 11:59 p.m. Next Thursday, a week from today, your first exam covers chapter 1, history of psychology, and this chapter, chapter 4, states of consciousness. That test next Thursday, you will need a Scantron sheet. Those of you who missed that. You can get a pack of 6 at the school bookstore for about $3. You will also need a number 2 pencil next Thursday as well. And I advise all of you to try to be here on Tuesday, because when we finish talking about drugs and how they affect our consciousness, we're going to do a review activity to help you get ready for the test on Thursday. So try to be here as you can. Does anybody have any questions about anything?
No, sir.
All right, then please have a safe and outstanding weekend, and I hope to see you on Tuesday.